Thanks, Nicolas. So thanks for your invitation to Lift and on this so inspiring topic of serious fun. This session is about inspiring stories, but I don't know for you, but since yesterday, I think that every session was really inspiring. So today, I will try to tell you a story, a short story of social media advertising in China, and more precisely, how Chinese netizens begin to play with brands online. And in some way, this story is related to the previous story of speakers, when the first speaker was speaking about doing marketing before production, and also is related to game. So, firstly, to introduce my company and myself a little, I have to confess, because we are talking about serious fun every day, that I work in a very serious company called BNP Paribas, which is an international banking group of 2,100 people. And this very serious company with very serious people, bankers, how to imagine more serious people than bankers. This very serious company had the incredible idea 30 years ago to create L'Atelier with the only purpose to find and to search for new ideas and try to integrate them within the companies. So, as you understood, I work in the less serious part of the bank. But so, anyway, so basically the mission of L'Atelier is to help companies to be more innovative, and it's a big challenge. So at the very beginning, the idea of the concept of L'Atelier was to be based on open innovation. Now it's very common to talk about open innovation, but back in 1978, it was quite a new idea. And the name itself of L'Atelier could be translated as workshop. And what L'Atelier did at the beginning was to organize workshops in order to have an open place, to meet the community, to share ideas, insights with various people coming from startups, market leaders, companies, but also with novice people. And I would like to stress this point because, as you will understand, L'Atelier don't want to be elitist, and the opposite is that we really want to build some bridges between specialists, IT people, geeks, and people that want to learn from that and want to understand and apply that. So here you can see the place where we organize some workshops. Every year we organize around 100 workshops with startups and companies. The other very first idea of L'Atelier was also to evangelize the largest number of people and companies to the coming technologies, to the new trends, and doing that, trying to make those new trends and technology more understandable and actionable. So this is why we started to communicate through various channels. First with a paper magazine at the beginning of L'Atelier, and then publishing articles online. We publish every day. Also producing some web TV. And since 4 years, we produce also a radio program in France, a weekly radio program. And finally, around 8 years ago, when I joined the bank, when I joined BNP Paribas, it was decided to completely open L'Atelier and to open the research services of L'Atelier to other companies. And so back in 2005, after several years working on building the internet and intranet strategy of BNP Paribas, I set up the Asian branch of L'Atelier, and we decided to establish in Shanghai, China. So that's why I'm here today. So back to our story, the reason I wanted to talk about embedded brands is that since I'm in China, I face more and more companies, most foreign companies, that try to use the internet as a magic tool to reach the next billion customers that partly are in China. And so doing that, they try to establish communication through e-marketing campaign, which is basic. And obviously, they spend a lot of money doing that, especially what we call the mega brands. And the result is usually very poor. So my understanding in that is maybe they're obviously doing the wrong way, and just placing banners and creating event sites, just enough, not enough. So what I believe is that it's possible to establish with the users a more, let's say, more interactive, more personal, and sometimes more experiential communication through social media. So the good news for those companies is that within those social websites, people are already enjoying playing with games with their product. But most of those companies are not aware of that. So before going into the detail, let me give you just some figures about the Chinese web. As you may know, the web in China is very big. This is the biggest in the world. And since last June, the number of netizens in China overpassed the number of US population. And this is just the beginning. Since the beginning of this year, there is 40 million new users in China. And there is still 75% of people that are offline. And the third point, very important thing, is that most of Chinese netizens, 70%, are under 30 years old. So that makes China the biggest online playground on earth. So even if people cannot afford to buy a PC, in fact, you can connect from everywhere. I think it's like in Korea with PC Bang. In China, we call that Wangbar. And everywhere you can find different kind of internet coffee. The average amount of machine is around 200 machine, PCs. Even in small village, you can find some connection. And as you know, China is, everything is big in China. And I found this picture, which is a real picture in China, of a very big internet cafe. So really, entertainment is the very first usage when it comes to internet in China. And when you look at the statistics, official statistics, you can really see that online music, instant messaging, online video, sharing video, online games or blogs, writing blogs, reading blogs are the most important usage on the internet. So when it comes to students, to those kids, to those teenagers, young adults, we talked yesterday about offline and online social media, and really the barrier is, the frontier is really blurring. So here's just a quotation from a student that say that every day, once I turn my computer, I would firstly check out friends' news feeds on Xiaonei, which is a social network service, very famous in China, and then park my cars on Kaixin, which is another social website in China, before I do whatever I need to do. So obviously, this little student don't have the driving license. She don't have a car, a lot of cars, but she really experienced online to park her cars before going to university. So this combination of a very huge youth community with obviously a need for fun result very high demand for social media websites. And really, in the past, let's say 2 years, we really see a blooming of social network services, like Cyworld in Korea or Facebook in Western countries. So here is a short list of the new and most successful social network services on your left, sorry. And what we have to notice there is that the difference between those social websites and Western social websites is that the first idea coming into those websites is not to make friends, is not to connect with people, but first to play, just to enjoy games. So here are some examples of Facebook-like. This one is a very new one and very successful. This one also called 51.com, Wayao.com, also leveraged a lot of money since last year. And you have really plenty of that, just some examples with almost every color. You can do some collection with that. So what is interesting when we look deeper on those social network services is that while playing, people want to have and to play on more realistic environments. So here are just some 2 examples of items. One is a car, and which is really photorealistic. You can even the price is realistic, is near of the real price, and you can change the color. And this is part of the game, and we'll talk about this game just later. And on the right side is also another game, which is to have a virtual friend. So even if you don't have a real friend on your social network services, you can have virtual friends, and you can play with these virtual friends. So you can feed these friends. You can ask him to do some little things like playing, singing, and as long as you establish a relation with these friends, you can add some new features and enrich your interaction with these friends. And of course, you can also play with virtual friends of your real friends, and also take care of them and also enrich your communication with them. So it's really, really realistic. So there is 2 questions around that. What can we do on these virtual worlds, and why adding brands in it? So for the first question, I would say that what you can do on these virtual worlds is defined by what you cannot do on real life. And basically, this is part of the magic thing of virtual worlds. It's completely unlimited. So in real life, there is tons of things that you cannot do because it's too expensive, too complex to achieve, or too long or too dangerous. And all those physical barriers fall down in virtual worlds. And maybe the second thing is that thanks to your virtual me, thanks to your avatar, there is some social and maybe psychological barriers that also fall down. If you are too shy to do something on the real life, maybe you will use your avatar to do it on virtual life. And why adding brands in it? And all the brands that you can see, a lot of brands that you can see also on social network services, are not coming from brands owner. They come from the web. They just come from the owners, from the users, sorry, and from the web operators. So why adding brands in it? I think we could discuss a lot of that, and sociologists maybe would have a lot of things to do about that. But let's assume that in those virtual worlds, brands can be seen as an artifact of reality. We are very familiar with brands in our real environment, and finding some brands in your virtual environment make maybe an easier link to the real life. And maybe another explanation is when you want to play with a car, maybe it's just more funny to play with a real car, a car you know. So in this slide, there is just 4 examples that I pick up from social website with where you can race with real cars. You can also also offer precious gift. So in real life, maybe you are not, you have not enough money to offer luxury gift to your friends or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, but in virtual life you can do that. You can decorate your house with real objects and playing with a lot of real items like cell phone, for example. So looking at that, at L'Atelier, we conducted some surveys, some studies to try to track the brands and see how they were used on social network services. So we built a lot of business case studies. I think I'm going to do fast on that to keep some time for the end. But you can really see that almost every kind of product, every kind of brands can appear on those social network services, like Dior, luxury goods. Here you can see some automotive product of French brands, Peugeot or Citroën. Here it's about cell phones, Korean cell phone from LG, so etc., etc. So I would like to spend more time to go into the detail of one of those games. And we are going to play now with cars on a social game, which is a social website, which is called Kaishin, which was very successful since last year. And you may know that in China, when you begin to have some little money, one of your first idea is to purchase a car, and after getting married, maybe the second idea is to try to buy an apartment. So playing with cars was when a lot of people, the majority of people, cannot afford to buy a car, but dream of that, can make this kind of game very successful. So we are going to, so I made some screenshots, as I don't want in demonstration, I don't want to connect to the internet. Usually it's not working. So we did some screenshots, and so we are on my profile. You can, if you are familiar with Facebook, you can see that there is a buddy list, there is a friends feed, and on your left side you can see a lot of applications. So we are going to go on the car gaming application, which is called Parking War. So in this game, you can park your car, you can race with the car, and as long as you earn money, you can buy more cars and enjoy more the game. So there is a catalog of automotive. Most of them are pretty realistic. And what is interesting in that, so you can see that the brands appear, even if the brand's owner are not aware of that. So maybe there is a concern of DRM also around that. And what evolved in this social network services is that companies began to look at that and saw that maybe they could sponsor their own cars. And this is what happened. So here you have an example of a car, and it is shown that that this car is sponsored by the brand owner. So this car is called Fabia, and when you click on it, you have a pop-up that explains a little about the car, the specificities of the car, and also the picture is clickable. So you can click to the car, and then You are no more on Kaishin. You are no more on the social network site. You are conducted to the site of the company. And what is interesting in this case study is that the company deeply understood that people were playing with cars, and they built the site also in a way to continue to play with the car. And you can see that the main navigation is about sensation, about touching the car, about feeling the car, enjoying the car. You can even hear the sound of the engine. And also you can subscribe to really drive in reality the car. So you can fill in a form, and maybe you will be able to really drive this car. Also, they added some 3D virtual worlds, and here you are completely inside a branded environment. And also you can interact on blogs. So really, this is a good example of how maybe a company can use those worlds, those virtual worlds, take advantage of that, and if they really understand the behavior and the way of, and the fact that people are mainly playing, to bring them to be more aware of their brand, and maybe to go to some purchase at the end. So just to give you some numbers, just two numbers. After buying some cars, you can do some race with them, and every day there is 100 million times racing on Kaishin, which is tremendous. On another website, which is a more card game site, there is 80 million times card exchange every day. So really, it could be very powerful. Just to conclude, because I think it's finished, I'm over time. There is another application on this site, which is called MyFangze, which is about buying a house. And this is another dream of Chinese people. So in that game, you have your house. It's a little like the mini Humpy on the Side World, but it's really sophisticated. And so you can decorate your house, and so you also have a catalog of items. Most of those items you can recognize the brands, but they are not sponsored by the company itself. So here we are at the first stage of game, when users want to have maybe a more realistic environment, but company didn't invest this space to link to their product. Okay, so this is the end of the story. I don't know the end. I think users are going to continue the story. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrice.